Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be covering some desperate attempts by the left to continue to smear the Covington high schoolers who were accused of racism for, quote, mobbing a Native American elder. Now, if for whatever reason you are unaware of the situation, please go to my video from yesterday and watch that before this one. But without further ado, let's get this going. We will be featuring just one story from Huffington Post on this video, so take some of this with a grain of salt. It's an op-ed. We start with this opinion piece by Rosalind Wiseman. Mrs. Wiseman is a teacher and author of bestseller Queen Bees and Wannabes, the book that inspired Mean Girls.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
So, what did she have to say about this whole ordeal? Not like celebrities making their points known didn't go fantastically over the weekend. This article was posted yesterday, so maybe she has a more informed view. To the teachers and parents of Covington Catholic High School. Okay, so no obviously inflammatory title or comment yet. Friday's first ever Indigenous Peoples March in Washington should have been an occasion for peaceful protest and respectful acknowledgement of Native Americans' experience in our country. Instead, a sad and unfortunately predictable confluence of events made that sort of dignified reflection impossible. And there it goes. While I agree with the statement, I have a feeling I know where this is going. The group of high school boys from Kentucky's Covington Catholic High School, seen on tape wearing Make America Great Again hats, and ridiculing some of the marchers, including U.S. veteran Nathan Phillips, should be accountable for their actions. Phillips says that he approached the boys because they were already exchanging racial taunts with another group of protesters, and he was trying to calm things down. However, the subsequent debates over the exact sequence of events and the question of whether the students should be identified don't place responsibility for the ugly scene on the people who should really assume it, the adults. Now, there is so much wrong with what she just said. Firstly, she draws attention to the MAGA hat, no surprise there, but then quotes the proven liar Nathan Phillips in his account for the story. I'm sorry, but is it so hard to watch the video now that the full context is out there and draw your own conclusions instead of just parroting someone else or parroting the lies that we all know full well exist? Also, they were not exchanging racial taunts. They were receiving racial taunts and responding with school spirit cheers. But finally, I do agree, adults need to be held responsible. In my opinion, those adults include Nathan Phillips, his followers, and the Black Hebrew Israelites, but I digress. We continue. That includes the adults on the other side who exchange insults with the students. Of course. See, there you go. But the adults with the most knowledge and control over the situation were the supervising adults from Covington. They saw what the students wore as they walked out of their hotel lobby that morning. Ooh, lady, look, you're about to open up a can of worms you are not prepared for. For many in this country, MAGA hats amount to an explicit message of racial intolerance and bigotry, and the chaperone should have known that the boys' appearance had the potential to inflame and frighten others, particularly on this day of marches. Oof, look, Mrs. Wiseman. Do not come at me with that archaic bullshit. You are the one in control of your emotions. Everyone else must do the same, or be taught by society that clothing choice should not influence your actions towards those who are wearing such apparel. If I will be so bold, it almost makes it sound like based on what you're saying, what the boys were wearing, they were asking for it? What an interesting sentiment coming from a well-respected op-ed contributor to the Huffington Post. Combine that with the common belief of teen boys in their absolute right of freedom of speech and expression, their ignorance of how they appear to others, and the emboldening effect of a large group, and the whole thing was entirely foreseeable. You need help, like serious help. You have become so deluded in the progressive bubble that what you are claiming here is that the boys are just incapable of being respectable, and that their very presence in large numbers is somehow threatening. God, when my future nephew plays sports, I'll be sure to watch out for those dastardly boys and their group mob mentality. Or do you think I would find such a thing at, perhaps, a women's march? For the rest of us, we have to put aside our righteous indignation. Instead, we need to remember the value of dignity for everyone. Remember that it's possible that at least some of the Covington's parents, teachers, and administrators are horrified and ashamed, and when we move on to the next terrible story that captures our attention, they will be left to deal with the consequences, including the fact that they have been on the receiving end of hate since the video of the boys was posted. With that in mind, I am respectfully reaching out. You absolute self-righteous bitch, you! Oh yes, people like us, we are offended, we are horrified, and I'm sure there are some sensible parents out there. Oh, but don't worry, we will move on and be outraged at tomorrow's story. Them, though, they will have to deal with the mess we left, the death threats, the threats on children's lives. Really sounds like an online riot, doesn't it? But let's see your respectful reaching out. I am genuinely interested. Dear Covington Catholic community, we know there are many wonderful children who attend your school, and this one incident does not reflect every individual in your community. But it is also true that your students mocked an elderly Vietnam veteran while the supervising adults allowed them to represent your school wearing MAGA hats. Is this not a moment to examine your school's goals and values for how you send an all-male group of students to participate in March for Life? An event that should be, by all accounts, recognize the importance of treating all people with dignity? Ooh, you want to go there, lady? Especially those with whom you disagree? As it is, the image of young men protesting against women's reproductive rights, coupled with their MAGA mobbing of a elderly Native American man, only looks like young men wanting to dominate people who have historically had less power. I'm sure you want your students to be more than that. I'm not going to get into that whole March for Life argument right now, but this article is seriously tempting me. This is your moment to show the country what educators and parents do for young people. This is your moment to show children that they aren't only ours when they bring home trophies, they are ours when they make mistakes. This is your moment to teach boys that the right to express themselves is not as important as treating all people with respect. That political disagreement does not give them the right to disparage and ridicule others. You know what? No. I am not even going to bother continuing because every paragraph I read is your continual grandstanding from your ivory tower of righteousness and you talking down to these people who at the point of publishing you should know damn well were mischaracterized and slandered by the media. Not to mention all the outright incorrect and bullshit things you have just said in those last two paragraphs. Consider the people you have characterized here. What it means for you to post this with your credentials and your acclaim. Consider the power and privilege you have over the parents and students that are the real victims of this situation, because you, ma'am, are currently passing judgment on something that you clearly only read one side of. You absolutely disgust me with your attitude, and I can only hope that someone tells you where you went wrong, because I know that you wouldn't bother listening to any of the common folk like me. I am so disappointed in this woman that I'm just going to leave it there today. If you want to hear my final recap of this topic, I will be streaming alongside Omegon tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 GMT, on the Cthulhu Kin and Friends show, channel link in the description. I'm sure it will have a good amount dedicated to this topic. Thank you all for joining me today. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and comment. And if you didn't like it, hit me with that dislike and post up my bigotry for all to see. Have a good one, and see y'all soon.